It is finally warm enough, I think just about everywhere in the United States, whether you live up in Minnesota where I am or you're down south, it's definitely topwater season. And so it's time to start talking topwater. And I figured I'd have somebody on. Not that everybody doesn't love topwater, but somebody else that like really appreciates topwater as much as I do and geeks out on it and gets into all the different baits, except for maybe one category that I'll touch on that I'm not really that big of a fan on. We'll see if the guest agrees or not. But what's up, Debo? Welcome to the stream,
What
HellaBass
up?
Live on a Friday night edition.
What up? What up? Yeah, I'm interested to hear what this one lure is that you're not so hot on. Crawlers, maybe?
That's it. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not a big
yeah.
crawler guy.
I agree. Agreed.
I just don't get it. Like, honestly, I should say, because I haven't really ever tried it, but
Yeah.
just the way it's shaped and how I think of fish eating baits head first, it just seems like a hookup nightmare.
I know they
In my
catch them
head,
on it.
so I just don't try it. Yeah, just fishing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Yeah, I got a tournament Sunday, Monday, so I'm gonna go out and practice tomorrow in the heat and the wind. So I don't know. That's one thing. Is like the forecast is for like 9,000 mile an hour winds, which doesn't usually lend itself to a fantastic topwater bite. But
Yeah, that's what we were just talking beforehand. I said, I'm looking to try to sneak out in the morning. We're supposed to have like 20, 25 mile an hour winds here. And in the kayak, that's a little sketchy. But I think I've got a place close by that I haven't even fished at all this year. Kind of hide back in some of the coves. The back half of the lake is pretty secluded. So hopefully.
nice. Well, and if we run out of topwater topics, I got some unopened tackle boxes as well. So,
Ooh.
what's up, AJ? Creative says the post-spawn guild rating topwater bite was fire today. That is, I do got a couple baits I'd like to break out for that. Rex topped out. He loves himself some topwater. But and I'm trying the new thing where StreamYard allows you to put the chat on the video
I
screen.
see that. That's pretty cool.
Just a button up there. We'll see.
Hmm.
So, I guess the first question is, and I think we're going to talk everything from poppers, chuggers, walkers, buzzers, fraught. Like I think pretty much is all I'll be on the table tonight, except for probably crawlers, unless you're passionate about that, Debo.
I think I have a Pompadour Junior, and that's the only crawler I own.
We'll definitely answer people's questions, but we'll definitely get into like some of our favorites, how we set them up, what line, what rods, where we like to fish them. And so, yeah, we'll hopefully cover it all and give some people some nuggets to help them suck less at topwater. I feel like topwater is kind of like where a lot of people get the bug, right? Like that's when you think back, like one of my most memorable fish when I was a youngin' in the back of my dad's boat was on this guy. I believe they were called the weed walker. It's like a moss boss with a like the spoon in the middle.
Yeah, I remember the ones that have like the spoon and the hook is like in it, so it's weedless.
So it's basically a moss boss, but when you reel it, this thing like kind of like a little mini buzzbait in the center.
I've never seen one of those.
It's the hookup ratio is about as good as a moss boss, which is terrible. But I have a vivid memory of a slightly errant cast where this goes over a limb and it's like bobbing out of the water. And I had like a 2-3 pounder go after it like 5 times. Every time I would lift it up, you'd jump like
the dangle
like,
fish
into my brain. And I feel like, right, like for so many of us, whether it's a chug bug or a jitterbug or a frog or a topwater, like a lot of us can like go back to an early topwater bite that really like if you weren't already a fan of fishing, that really like seared it into your brain.
Yeah, I agree. Some of my favorites with my pops was throwing the Rebel Pop R or the little, actually it was the Zara Spook Puppy and was the one that I used to use all the time, which is like the hardest to walk. And maybe that's why it was good for me to learn on that one, because I got pretty good at walking a topwater. Yeah, Pop R.
It's supposed to have a skirt. It just this one, I'm sure. They had those really like flat rubber silicone,
like the old like, scum frog.
Yeah, and they did not last the test of time.
Get all crusty.
Yeah,
the Arbagat, Hula Popper had one of those too. Would get all crusty and.
Yeah, so everybody put in your what that memory, what that early top water was for you.
Clay, I was actually just, dude.
Oh, we already lost Debo. Everybody take a drink. Debo got up. All the rules apply for a normal Debo stream. I'm gonna wait till after stream to have my ice cream machine.
When I was cleaning up and moving things, I found a whole bunch of blanks, and I bought a whole bunch of these clear ones at Gander. They were on $5.99 on sale for 99 cents each when they were going out of business. I was like,
That's
dude,
the
I
drink.
either
He
need
got up and he said Gander, so all the rules apply to a
2
regular
drinks.
Debo stream.
Yep. So I need to maybe I'll throw this tomorrow. Let's open this baby up.
So Rob Kilty says I suck at locking anything. And I feel like I remember a time when I was like first starting where like a spook was tricky. But I feel like once you start to get it, then they all just kind of fall into place.
Slackline. Slackline's the biggest thing. Slackline.
Yeah.
If you cast it out and you're trying to walk it and you're just pulling it straight, don't reel at all. Just keep working it where it's at, and eventually it'll get to a point where it starts kicking, and then you just slowly go with it.
Sure. I feel like once you kind of learn it, then it's almost hard to like explain it.
Yep. I might tie this.
I think bigger top waters are easier. So like a full size spook or something like that is easier to learn with.
Yep. Little tiny torpedo. I had one of these silver ones that I threw as a kid that I beat the hell out of and caught a bunch of fish, but I didn't own a bunch of them.
And I would also say make sure your rod's not too stiff. Like maybe just go to a lighter action rod. But not too flimsy, right? You don't want like spongy. You just want a light tip. Sloth. Who else uses teeth to cut on even though you have snips? Now, I used to be that way. I've really gotten away from that in the last decade, probably. But when I was younger, I was like, I think having more braid around has made me keep scissors and snips around. So then now I just use it for everything. Kraken bass, jitterbug, small. You know what? Here's the thing. I don't think I've ever caught a bass on a jitterbug, nor have I ever. I'm not sure if I've even casted a jitterbug.
I think I've still got.
That's probably crazy for people to think, but I don't think I've ever casted a jitterbug.
Yeah, it's funny how different people grow up with different things and like how people gain confidence in different lures. That always like cracks me up. How somebody can be so totally opposite, you know. Oh, it's not in here. Oh, but look, there's your little pompadour. Not in here.
What's up, Darius?
Yeah, at dusk on the ponds, throwing those jitterbugs. I had a black one and like a bullfrog one that was like, I think yellow belly. But yeah, I've told the story a bunch of times on my stream. But my buddy used to have, his grandpa had like, I don't know, 100 and some acres farmland, farming cows, and he had a gigantic pond that we'd camp on at night in the summers and throw. So much fun.
Yeah, I remember the old single hook frogs. They were kind of more. They weren't really hollow, but they were like a foam body or a sponge body almost, and then had that single hook with like. Honestly, the hook kind of looked like this, right? Like it kind of had that little wire weed guard. I remember fishing those. I don't remember catching anything on those.
Yeah, I never had any of those. I don't know where my.
Yeah. So I feel like every year now, my first topwater bite comes via the frog.
That frog.
Like I feel like that's the first topwater I'm picking up every year right now is the frog. Recently, what
do you
about
get
you?
A lot of? Yeah, do you get a lot of grassy lakes up there? Is that kind of the deal? Why?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm either fishing the river early or the lakes, and typically those earliest bites are going to be around, you know, spawning beds, pre-spawn into post-spawn. They're usually going to be around like old pad stems, old, you know, brown, black topped out reeds. stuff like that. Those warm pockets.
Yep.
I know a lot of people will throw a buzzbait early and get an early bite on a buzzbait. That's not something I do a lot of, but I know that is also a thing. But yeah, we do that generally have a ton of grass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost out of necessity for me having to do it.
So questioning, like, these are all the top waters I typically keep in my boat.
Nice. Oh, that juice top water, that one must be the good stuff.
This is the one that stays close at hand. We'll get to that.
The goodness.
It's kind of evolved, but I basically keep a whole box of rods.
Not mad at that. Although I'm interested to hear what your favorite frog is right now.
I mean, the frog that I probably throw the most day in and day out is like a Spro 65, right? Like that's readily available. It's really good. Catches a ton of fish, right? Like, if I feel like I'm around a lot of pike and I know it could get expensive, the Booyah Pad Crasher, right? I say this is probably the best frog for the money.
I agree.
This is probably like my favoritist is the what do they call this? The natural red Spro.
Putting some Flashaboo in there.
I do occasionally add some tinsel for secondary action into some of my frogs. That's something I'm experimenting with. So when it's sitting there in the pads and it's like, then you got those things doing a little something different.
Yeah, I remember the 13 fishing ones had those. What was it? There's the trash panda.
I think the Gambler one does too. This year I've been playing with the Hypnotoad, which is the John Sukup's frog.
Haven't heard of that one.
I forget what the brand is. Hypnotoad is the name. Forget what the lure, but you can get him at his Save More Outdoors website.
Oh, it's not on like Tackle Warehouse.
I don't think you can get it at Tackle Warehouse. I think they basically all have him at Save More Outdoors.
I've never even heard of that. Save More. So does he own this place, Save More Outdoors?
Yeah.
Oh. Mojo Fishing, Poppin' Hypnotoad.
Mojo Fishing. Yeah.
Or
so far, pretty good. They're inexpensive. They got good hooks. Soft. Yeah.
$10 normally, on sale right now for $6.50 on the Save More Outdoors website.
I think I've got them for $5 each at the Classic. But otherwise, I've got some of my old Evolve Nervous Walkers. We've got some Terminators that they don't make anymore. We've got Snag Proof. I mean, guess you can't. Guess I do love the Swamp Donkeys.
Yeah.
The old ones or the new ones, both good. We keep some junior frogs on hand just in case. And there's a couple frogs in here that don't get a lot of action, like the Toad Runner.
So
I feel like there's better options than the Toad Runner. I do have a Swamp Lord in here somewhere, I think.
Teckle Sprinkler.
I do like the
Swamp
Swamp
with
Lord.
that. It's my favorite. It's my go-to right now. The best, I think.
I just haven't made a lot of room for them in there, but I do have a couple of them. Unless they got piked and I haven't replaced them, but the Northland frog seems interesting.
I didn't even know they had a frog out. Huh.
I have guess I got a couple of these Jackal Cares. They're kind of small. I don't really throw those much.
I wasn't real impressed. Everybody was talking like they were the greatest thing ever, and I thought the hookup ratio kind of sucked.
People do love them. I haven't thrown them enough to really give it a... But I will say my all-time is the True Tungsten Mad Max. That's not a Mad Max. This is a Mad Max. The Gen 2 Mad Max, long discontinued. It's Spro-like, a little softer, a little different. But yeah. So, I mean, that's... I got some popping frogs here and there. I like the walking frogs generally more than the popping frogs. There are times I will throw the popping frog.
Agreed.
But it's mostly this natural brown, black or white, probably 80% of the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm all black.
Anything in there that I didn't cover that's a must-have go-to?
No, I see somebody asked about the Hags outlier. I have thrown those. I did catch, actually, that was my first fish of the year, was on that frog. It's pretty cool. It's got like, it's kind of like the old Molix one, Molix Super NATO or something, I think, or no,
Sure.
what was it? It's got like the two kind of kicky feet back there, but they're not like the big paddle feet. They're like the, I don't know, almost like a rage craw type feet.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of a subtle. My only question is how long are they going to last? Like how long will those legs last? Because I think that Molix one that I think I had like 3 bites and the tail got ripped off. So
yeah, somebody commented on another video that I did just recently talking about the next type of frog, which I haven't talked about, and said they lost the legs off the hags almost immediately.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The only thing.
Maybe I don't have a swamp lord. Maybe I lost the few that I have. I don't see one. I saw AJ said he cuts the shrink wrap off the hooks. Not sure what the purpose of that is. I don't have any tilt dumpers. TK threw one. He lost the weight really quick on the one he had. It made me not want to buy them. But so then there's the other reason I have a second frog box now, because there's been a new entrance into the game. And as soon as we talk about these, I'll talk about rods, reels, setup, which I don't think. But I've quickly become a fan of the Spro Flappy Frog or Flappin' Frog. Now, this is the old version that you had to battle the weights, try to glue them in, do all that stuff just to make them last longer. But I have caught fish even with the weight out. Like it's okay without the weight.
You're just fighting it to ride up because it doesn't want to ride the right way.
But the new versions have the internal weight. The hookups are still just as good in my opinion. They're super soft. They have razor sharp hooks. These are definitely so basically and then they're a Lastech, right? So they need their own space. So either you have to like give up space in your normal frog box to carve out a section where these can live together, or you have to have a dedicated box like I now have for these. So, but if you haven't tried these, they're basically all the best parts of a hollow body frog and all the best parts of a Stanley rivet combined into one super durable frog. Like they last forever. I don't think I've ever lost a leg. The only thing that ruins them is the old ones losing the weight, and the new ones, if you let them touch the wrong things, then they melt and they get screwed up. So if you can avoid those two things, you got a frog that you can probably catch 100 bass on.
Agreed. Big fan of them. They're awesome. Yeah, I stopped using them after every one I would cast, 3 casts, the weight would come out. So then I finally got some of those new ones, and yeah, I actually just threw that, I think, last week or the weekend before and caught some on it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Terminator walking frogs in the box. They are discontinued. Has anyone tried the new Kicky Foot Frog from Snag Proof? I don't know. I've seen the the new like popping shape and walking, like for whatever reason those they don't appeal to me. Whatever the versions of those that came out from Hedden or way back in the day had such terrible, they had all those soft body spooks and poppers and all the attempts in the past have ruined me from ever wanting to try that style again. Yeah, pike can be a problem. So as far as setups for frog, to me, I'm basically 40 to 65 pound braid. 40-pound braid is plenty strong 90% of the time. Cuts through the grass better. You can cast it further. I don't like going less than 40 because I feel like it digs into my spool. 50, 65 pound braid, you get a little less casting distance, doesn't cut through vegetation. You have about 0 chance of breaking it. A little bit better around wood if you're skipping around trees and stuff, because the lighter braid will cut and dig into wood. The bigger braid does a little better job from hanging up. But basically, my frog rods are 7.3, 7.4 mag heavy Dobbins, 200 size reels, braid, straight braid, big heavy sticks, a little bit of tip for casting, skipping, but it's a pretty simple setup. I think that's the biggest mistake you can do is go too light of line or too light of rod for frog is really the biggest mistake that you can make.
Yeah,
and then
two
I like
step of a rod too.
7 something to 1 ratio, somewhere in the 7 to 7.5 is my sweet spot for frogs. I think you get into the rockets and the super burners, you start to lose torque and leverage that you need. If you start going below 7, you struggle to potentially catch up with fish coming at you or turning off or running at you that you can't keep up with. So, how about you? Similar?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. Yeah, I think a lot of people's, and I know I was guilty of it when I was messing with different frog rods, is too stiff of a rod. You know, it's like you need a heavy, so you just grab like your heavy flipping stick.
Right.
Well, a lot of those are very tippy. You know, they've got a real fast tip, you know, for dragging through the rocks and stuff. But like, yeah, I've gone to definitely a softer heavy is what I prefer, so you can really load it.
You want
fast.
a little more moderate
yeah,
tip
more
that you can
more
walk
bend
in.
to the tip.
Right. Get in part, especially, I mean, if you're just bombing a frog over pad flats and duckweed and you're just straight chugging it in, you probably don't need much of a soft tip. But if you are going to try to accurately put it around logs and bushes and skip it under docks and trees and stuff like that, then you definitely want a little more tip.
Yep. Yeah, just more comfortable for me.
Yeah. But my day in and day out frog rod is a Dobbin 735. You can get it in the Fury, you can get it in the Sierra, you can get it in a Champ.
Or the Caden.
Got to go 745 in the Caden. But
oh, is that the one I have? Okay.
And they're probably some of the sickest bites, the frogs. So
the most funnestest way to catch fish, in my opinion, on the frog.
Most is funnest, bestest.
Mm-hmm. Yes, all those.
Yeah, I mean, if the water never got cool enough where they wouldn't eat a frog, it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
Yeah, agreed.
The 736 is a good frog rod as well. I just find that the 735 is a little more versatile when I'm skipping it and doing things like that. But there's room for both of them, and there's not a wrong choice. It's more of a personal preference. I've had the 736.
Is that what you have in the Champion, Chris? Because that rod, he's got that on a
with the coastal.
Yeah. Oh my God, that thing is
looks
so
sick.
Nice.
That's my main setup is the Champ 735 with the coastal. That may have been, I may have been partially responsible for Chris's setup.
I think you might be responsible for some of his Dobbins addiction. I think probably at least once a week I get an email or a text from him saying, "Hey, check Amazon again. This Dobbins is on sale."
Yeah, that's crazy. I've seen some of the deals on the Dobbins community site, but I honestly don't miss a lot of frogfish. I mean, there's certain days they're off of it and you need to put it down. But I would say most days, I bet you my hookup is 75 to 90% on frogs.
Yeah, it depends.
I'm not saying there's never days, but I would say 80% of my frog days, the hookups are over 90% or approaching 90%. Or if they miss it, I can go throw back in there and and I would say probably I'm basing a lot of that on the river stuff. I feel like it's a much more consistent and better bite. And it really depends on the lakes. There are some lakes the frog bite is not as good. For some, I mean, there's some lakes where I don't know if it's the forage or bass just develop a little different or evolve. But some lakes they're frog eaters and some lakes they're not.
Yeah, that's weird how it can vary so much from lake to lake. Like there's lakes that I've tried and just can't get it going. And there's other
Yeah.
lakes where it's like I'm 100% certain I can go there and throw a frog and catch a fish.
Yeah, I never owned the carrot stick steerman, but
I didn't either.
The other thing I would say is like on my lakes, I probably do more what I call tactical frogging, right? Where I'm throwing it up around docks, I'm skipping under trees, I'm hitting little mats, right? Like instead of just going into a bay with pads and just like aimlessly casting, I'm much more
Launching.
using it as a target focused bait where I'm being, more precise, throwing it at a little creek mouth or a little ditch or, just little strips of things. And I think when you do that, your hookups go way up because a lot of times them fish are eating it on the edge of a mat or on a shade line of a tree or something like that. Where if you're just constantly throwing over like 2-inch thick cheese mats, yeah, your hookup's going to go down. So, yeah, I think the natural evolution from frogs is buzzbaits next.
Yeah, makes sense.
Have you caught a buzzbait fish this year?
I have not. I have thrown it. Chris, actually, who was just talking, he got on a really good buzzbait night after I left the place. But no, buzzbait, even last year, buzzbait sucked. And like 2 years before that, buzzbait was one of my best.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I haven't thrown it a ton. I've caught fish on the frog. I've caught fish on the flappy frog. No bites on the buzzbait, but I bet you I've made less than 30, 50 casts with it this year.
Yeah. I actually got a new Caden just for that.
That's typically what my buzzbait is on, is a 744 Caden. Maybe let's everybody take a drink. Debo got up. I like it, Chris. I hear some buzzbaits in the background. Look how clean Debo's tackle room looks.
Take a drink.
Yeah. Well, everybody else took one while you were up.
Oh, this isn't the right one. I tied a buzzbait on it and I accidentally put it on the wrong combo, and I found out the day. Said the 713 is that one, but
yeah. There's something I talked to Jacob Lawrence, MLF BPT Pro, Dobbins guy, and he actually prefers a 3-power rod. He throws braid on a 3-power rod.
Yeah, that's what I went straight braid and tried it. Felt kind of soft to me though. I don't know, maybe just because I'm not used to.
Sure. So I mean, like for me, I think my main rod typically 744 Caden. I think a 734, but I'm in the camp that I like a 40-pound braid for my buzzbaits. And I've adjusted my hook set and my rods to just lean into them, rarely pull them away. That's my preference. Are you a braid or a mono or a fluorocarbon buzzer person?
Or buzzbaits? I honestly used to just throw fluorocarbon and not really care because I would just throw it on like my spinnerbait combo. But I've definitely experimented more in the last few years and have thrown braid. That's what I did this one on. Straight up braid. I think I did 40-pound, but that was what I had. Maybe 30. I don't remember.
And then there's the, skirted or plastic.
Usually plastic, I would throw 90% of the time, but I've been experimenting more with skirted. That like more recently. Back in the day, I only ever threw skirted.
Right. It's kind of like, right, it was all skirted, and then the horny toad came out, and everybody kind of went that way. Now it's kind of like, I think this is a booger man that's not quite touching the head correctly. I'm not sure whose toader this is. Maybe a greenfish or something. I would say I played around with the Max Squeaker a little bit, which is the kind of the new squeaky dolphin, right?
Mm-hmm.
which they kind of have that unique little rivet there. And it also hits the head. But I would say like the one that I probably caught the most fish on recently in the past couple of years is the Jacob Wheeler accent buzzer.
Jackal Firecracker was my favorite there for a long time for a skirted, super consistent, loud, and dirty, muddier water. Did really well for me. But what is it? It's the Hank Cherries at the Picasso Toad one was my favorite there for a long time. For the plastic, kind of a little finesse. Buzzbait seemed to do really well around here. I don't remember what that was called. Toad something, I think.
Another booger man. So yeah, I would say like your average buzzbait, right? I think this is this the accent? I think it is. I'm not sure. But so there's one thing I see people like hook it on, the antenna, hold it out the window in the truck. But I think that just like prematurely wears out your buzzbaits personally. So when I get it, like if I get a buzzbait that I want to tune, what I do is I crimp the rivet with a pliers so it doesn't move. Right there, right? Crimp that so it doesn't spin. Then I take my pliers and I rough up the flat part of the rivet. And then I take my pliers and I rough up the flat part of the blade in there. And I feel like if you do those three things, it starts squeaking really fast. You don't need to do all that other stuff. Now, you will wear out buzzbaits faster doing that because the rivets and all that stuff doesn't move and it grinds. And then typically a buzzbait will work the very best about 5 fish before its life's over. Right when it's like squeaking and tuned and they're chewing it is about when the blade is going to wear out. So that's my philosophy on buzzbaits.
That's what I've heard a lot of too, is roughing up the wire on it.
So yeah, I rough up the rivet and the bottom of the blade just enough to give it a little, just take the shine off and then crimp the rivet. But
yeah, it was the if you're wondering, the Picasso one, it was the Toad Slayer was the name of that one, like a little finesse compact.
Sure. Yeah, I've heard Epic Air talk about rusting out its rivets. That just seems like a whole lot of extra work to take the rivet off, rust it out, put it back on, when you can just rough up the rivet. I don't know.
Those speaking of those Toad Slayers come that way. They come with rusted rivets on them.
Because I think Eric said he would put the rivets in Coke. I'd probably rather just like dip the end of my blade in a Coke and then take it off. But yeah, otherwise I don't know. I'm 50-50 on. I'm probably, and some of them have skirts and plastics. I don't know. I don't know what the answer. I'm not a buzzbait. I feel like I'm way more in tune with my frog game than I am with my buzzbait game.
Same.
I should say that the back to the frogs a little bit, I guess, just not to like, right? Like, I think, a tournament ready frog has legs that are trimmed to about 2 to 2.5 inches for me. Typically, I'm going to put a couple steel dowels in there for weight and sound. I don't know where I found these.
Did you say steel dowel?
Like just a little pins. They almost look like they're a little bit smaller than like the cotter pin that you put in like your trolling motor prop. And for some reason, I just came across. I've got a bag of 1,000 of these for some reason. I don't know where they came from, but I have them.
It's interesting.
And I throw like 2 or 3 in there. There's enough just to move them around and a little added weight, and they make a little sound. And then when you're pushing down on the mats and stuff. So I will say the thicker the cover, the shorter I want the legs, and the thicker the cover, the more weight and rattles I will add. But I want to avoid adding anything that's too big and bulky where I'm impeding the hookup action. I did find a swamp lord.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's kind of my couple tips. I don't do a ton of crazy stuff with frogs. Some frogs I will tweak out the hooks a little bit. If they're soft enough, and a lot of them don't need that anymore.
I agree with all those things.
So what's the next natural progression from Buzzbait?
I don't know if there's a natural progression, but oh yeah, good call. Yes, very good call. Makes sense.
So are you team Chapo or team Plopper?
I throw both. They have different sounds. I would say as of recently, Chapo, a little bit harder click to it, but yeah, I own both. Throw both, like both.
I haven't thrown the Chapo enough to really have a hard opinion. Most of my ploppers are the older yellow box ploppers.
Hmm.
Right. So
Is that the ones? Were those the silent
no, they just have a different.
or the rattle ones?
So you're looking for, like, if you want the original plopper, I mean, they both catch fish, but these older ones in the yellow boxes have a slightly different tail construction. Like, I forget which one is. I think the older ones are soft. I don't remember if the older ones are softer or harder. I'd have to forget. And then they have a slightly different joint. Like the way the joints come together are slightly different.
Yeah, because wasn't one torpedo? Didn't they change from the flat to the
One's
torpedo at
got
some
like
time?
a coned versus
Yeah.
flat, and
Yep.
I don't know. Most
They're
people that
supposed
are
to
like
help with grass.
aficionados swear by the older version. I got like a 4-minute video on my channel that explains it like in detail, and even shows like which markings on the bottom are the ones to look for the old ones versus the new ones. But
Damn, you are a nerd.
so for me, if I'm throwing like 90 plopper and down, I'll throw that on like my regular like walking bait popper type rods. But everything 110 and up, I'm throwing on like a buzzbait to a light frog rod. And so for me, the 110, 130 is a straight braid application, right? Like the bigger ploppers, because you're typically, I mean, you're dealing with these, number one trebles or number two trebles, right? Like they're pretty heavy. And right, to me, at that point, it's borderline swim bait, right? Like you're reeling along, they like crush it, and you just kind of just lock up on them and just right. So that's a straight braid. Typically like a 735 Sierra that has a little more tip than my Champ, or like a 764. So, but straight braid for the bigger ones, and then the smaller ones, I'll throw braid to like a short mono leader for like the 90s and stuff like that, and 75s and. Uh,
Yeah, that 75 is a good one.
you like this one?
Ooh,
It's a
I enjoy
custom
some.
made Chapo, just purple.
I enjoy some. It looks like you beat it up pretty good too.
I threw it a lot in Grand Lake, Oklahoma last year. I don't know that that's much from fish. It's just from grass, I think.
Yeah, the 110 is my favorite. That's usually my go-to always. Travis said that.
I would say I try to throw the 130 when I can. The one thing I will do on hard body topwaters, and you'll see this. So these have double split rings here and here. So that means the split rings are going to sit just a touch lower, but then also, right, you get less leverage. And yeah, that's
Do you
something I
play
do
with?
in a lot of my topwaters.
Do you play with tying like any of the braid
No,
hook
this is
hangers?
I am definitely not patient enough to tie braided loops, so I'll just put 2 split rings on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with me, 735 Sierra now, though, because they don't make the Savvy anymore, but they're comparable, Dustin. But yeah, I don't know. I will say that it gets bit, but River to Sea's version of bone is the ugliest bone that exists.
Straight eggnog yellow.
Yeah, like it doesn't probably do it justice on, but it's like this yellowish, like bad, not even good eggnog, but like a bad eggnog. I don't know. Like it's the great value eggnog, maybe. I don't know.
That's the best.
Yeah. So there we go. Chopping. Now I definitely think there's debate on where we go next. Let's let Debo pick the next category.
After plopper covering water, I'd say a walking bait.
Walking bait.
What are your
That is
favorite
where we
walking
start to
baits?
enter the
Oh, that's the juice box.
juice. I mean, I have both.
Is that the ecto?
We have-
Is that the ecto cooler box? Best juice box ever.
And then I've got the big double decker
Oh dang,
that has like the good.
that's a cool box.
Yeah, so they still make these, I think, or you can still get them. So they have like this latch to get in the top.
I've never
And
seen that.
then
That's pretty cool.
you can pull open this one and get into the deeper.
Oh, that's sweet. I like that.
I think they still make them. I think you can still get them. It's a Plano 4700. So, walking baits.
Christopher Walken Baits. How many times do you say that before you tie one on?
0. That doesn't come to mind, but
Every
can
time
see
I
it.
tie one on, I have to say it in my mind.
I mean, it probably really I mean, like, right? I guess that's obviously
Sammy?
the spook, but a Sammy, right? Old school, like a little bit different, right? The Sammy sits way more vertical, right? And it does this more like cutting, slashing action.
Yeah, I was a
Yes, I do
spook
have a
guy.
couple.
Spook
I do
guy
have a couple.
forever.
I got the baby spook here, Super Spook Junior. I honestly do not have a lot of actual spooks. I guess there's one up here that's missing a hook. But I do remember early on, like these like Zell Roland 3-hook spooks. This one's missing the tail hook, but that was a favorite. That's probably one of the first ones I ever learned to walk with right there, right? Would be something like that.
How about the I never got in on the hype of the Reaction Innovations Vixen.
Me neither.
Did you? No.
No, I got tons of them.
I got some of the repops, but people were still saying the old ones were better, and I don't know. I threw the new ones and didn't really have a ton of success. So,
No, I would say that's my go-to, actually.
oh, you were being sarcastic? Oh, okay.
I'm literally like a Vixen.
Oh, okay. So what do you think makes it so good and better than like just a regular like spook one knocker type? Is the sound that much different?
You know, I've heard TK say that the chamber on this one of the super spooks is very similar to that of the Vixen. But I've got, I mean, that's what most of the juice box is comprised of, to be honest.
Here I was falling for it. You know, I'm not much of a. Oh, I'm like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
I mean,
damn.
I guess that's why I'm a fan. I guess I have enough of these that the paint's been chewed off of that.
Oh god.
I mean, I do like their bluegill color in lakes. But to me, it's really, I mean, I catch them on lakes, like natural lakes up here. But for me, a lot of it is really like river fishing. And so then typically in the river, it's like I'm throwing bone. Is that the repo or the
No, it's the KVD Sexy Dog.
Sexy
It
Dog?
used to be metallic and it's all worn off to bone on the bottom, metallic
Yeah.
sides. Yeah, that one I threw forever was my favorite in the sexy shad or whatever, chrome sexy.
But I got some of the barely legal vixens. I've got some of the Teckles. So I've got, yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, the repot or the new like kind of what is it from? Is it the Heckler?
Teckle. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry,
Oh.
not Teckles. The
yeah, I know what you're talking.
because there's the
Excite?
kick knocker, right? Yeah, Excite baits. Yeah, I think the Heckler's the name of that one. Actually, is really good too. I've had some good days on that one. But I don't know, not compared, I guess, to the Vixen because I haven't thrown those enough to, or I don't even own any of the old ones. But for what I do, as just a average guy in the Midwest, they work.
For me, most of the topwaters that I use in tournaments will have a red front hook, upgraded hooks up and down it, and then I will put a feathered treble on the back, and I will usually do the double split ring on the last one. Because I figure if they come up and eat this part, they're going to get 2 hooks. If they're hitting the red hook, they're going to get like multiple hooks. But if they're nipping at it, then I want that that anti, I guess, leverage of the double split ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also lets
so you're a believer in the red hooks, huh?
Yeah, for the front of the bait, I feel like I get more fish committing to the head of the bait with a red hook on a topwater.
Really? Yeah, I know people fall, on either side. I feel like it makes no difference, but I know there's people that will argue until they're blue in the face.
I mean, that one looks mostly bronze now, but it does have a little red on it.
That one's been used a little bit. Holy cow. Chris asked, what's your replacement hook of choice on those?
I'm not that picky. As long as I match the size, I've got some Gamatsus, I got some owners, I got some Hayabusas. Like, as long as it's, I mean, I'm not like, I don't get super like freaked out about the exact hook.
Are you just like normal round bend, not like an EWG or not a short shank?
Yeah,
just like
I would say mostly round bends on a topwater. This is a silent balsa 3-hook Dreamwalker from Marty Burns.
That's sweet.
It's more Sammy like for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
don't sleep on those silents. I've got a couple of spooks like that make sure they're 100% silent are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, I mean, I do have a couple others that I'll throw. Occasionally, certain situations, the shower blow will get a nod. Right, a little bit more of a pencil popper walking bait.
That's what I want to try more. I bought some of the little ones. Somebody just let me know it's like the 77 or something. I didn't even know they made those small ones. So I got a couple of those for the ponds around here. It should be pretty fun.
I got this kind of walking bait that Brandon Brown carved sent to me. I just played around with it a little bit, but
nice.
Yeah, I got a few Sammys, a few shower blows, lots of Vixens. But it's basically the handful of bone ones that are kind of my tournament ready ones that are like geared up for day in and day out.
Yeah, bone or chrome. If you don't have bone or chrome, go home.
Yeah.
Do you throw an all black much? I never throw an all black walking bait, which is funny because 90% of the time I throw an all black frog.
Yeah, I feel like anything 6 foot and under, the red hook can apply. I do not have a bow stick. I know Darius got a bow stick. I actually want to try the jowler. I haven't bought. It's probably about the time of the year to go get a jowler now. That's the new Rapala, like shower blow kind of walking chugging bait. So for walking baits, poppers, prop baits, for most of me, that's all a 3-power rod in the Dobbins. So like walking bait 733, popper 703, but like, and typically I don't go really expensive. Like I'm talking Furies and Savvies for topwaters, right? Like, I mean, I want something that's reasonably balanced. It doesn't have to be super light. I want a soft tip on it, but I run, again, 30 to 40 pound braid, and then I will run basically a 8 to 12-inch heavy mono leader on all mine. That's my setup.
I'm still 100% mono.
And for me, the mono is really just to keep the braid out of the treble hooks. It's not really about shock leader or visibility or any of that kind of stuff. That maybe is like all secondary. It's really about keeping the braid out of the trebles. And I've just adjusted my setup. And the main reason that I like the braid is if I'm working a bait on I think I can cast it further with the braid. And then 2, when I'm working the bait and one comes and rolls on it, right? Like I feel like if I make a super long cast with like a full size spook and 12 to 14 or whatever pound mono, like if I think the fish has got it, I got to hit him pretty hard because there's a mile of stretch in mono on a 100-yard or 100-foot cast. Well, if he misses it, that spook's coming 20, 30 feet away from the blow up. With braid, like when they eat it, I'm just leaning into them, right? It's like there's no stretch. I just kind of pull. If the fish doesn't have it, I might pull the bait 1 to 3 feet. It's still in the strike zone, and either that fish can come back and get it quickly, or another fish that is with it can eat that bait. And I just feel like I've adjusted my rod, hook set, how I fight fish next to the boat, that I don't have problems like fish pulling out, that kind of stuff on a treble hook. I've got like confidence in my system but I feel like I do better locking those fish up. And if they're like kind of sloppy, hitting it, missing it, I'm going to get more of those repeat bites by doing that. That's my system. Plus, if I'm going to throw a vixen, if I'm going to throw, it seems like the trend is right, like $17 jowler, $25 vixen, $16 yellow magic or whatever, right? The top waters are definitely getting more expensive, and it's like, well, on braid, I never lose one. Like I almost never lose a top water. So even if I like put it into a tree or I put it into some cattails, right? Like I'm just gonna pull it out. Like so that's another. I worry less. Like I would worry a lot more about losing a vixen if I was throwing it on 12-pound mono all the time instead of 40-pound braid with a 17-pound short leader. So I do not use a loop knot. Sometimes I will use a clip, but that's more for if I want to switch baits than anything. If I'm on a place where I'm like dabbling and I'm not locked in, I'll put a clip on just to kind of experiment. Are they on chrome? Are they on a walking bait? Are they in a popper? Do they want a full size topper? Or they want something small, right? I don't know. What's your
Yeah, I'm straight mono. I still like straight mono.
loop knot?
Usually
Clip,
14 pound loop knot. Yep, I like the loop knot now. Yeah, I think that's about it. And yeah, you're right. There has to be you've got to either have some give in your rod or the line, right? With treble hooks. And I think that's, those people that will argue and say, oh, you're going to lose fish on braid, this and that. They're probably going too stiff of a setup if they've experienced that.
And then that is my popper of choice, the yellow magic. This is one of the battle torn
tested
yellow magics. Again, that was a red front hook. Double split rings, back treble. There's a shinier one. But yeah. So that's kind of my philosophy on hard baits. Yeah, for me, I mean, the Rebel Pop R is a good one as well. I mean, like it catches plenty of fish. That's not in my juice box, but I definitely carry some. Like a lot of times I'll throw the Bone Rebel in practice, and then the Yellow Magic usually gets the game day call. Or if I'm catching one of the Yellow Magic and somebody says, "Can I get one?" I typically hand them a Rebel Pop R in the same color. And
Yeah, here's what I was throwing.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I like the new
this Bone Popper right here.
I like the new P71, the rerun that they did.
Yeah, I do
A
not
little
have
bit
any of
bigger, a
those.
little bit larger. The other thing too, I feel, is waiting, because like when you're talking about the blowups, I feel like I've definitely gotten a lot better at waiting until there's weight. Just keep going with the same cadence until you actually feel that weight, and then pull into them. Because I think people get too antsy on like a walking bait, and they want to, me obviously the same way. You're walking it and you see that blow up, and you want to pull into them, just to keep going until you feel that weight pull into it.
I do have a few repo mans around here somewhere. So yeah, and for me, like I said, it's typically a bone most of the time. I do have a couple other shad patterns. I do have a couple other things to try. I mean, there are times the smallies get on weird stuff, but I will say there are times when they get on real small bait and like the rivers and stuff.
Mm.
And so I do have like a few like translucent baits just so they don't get as good a look at it. You know, or I might throw the smaller poppers than kind of a clearer one so they don't see it as a full size minnow. I mean,
What are your thoughts on the old skitter pop?
I think I have one right. This one? No, here it is.
That was
So
my
there's
first ever bait that I got a solo double up on, was the skitter pop.
there's definitely some fans of these, especially for smallies in Minnesota, especially this one with this kind of like yellowish cream frog body. And like, yeah, I mean, some people like the skitter block, some people like the skitter prop. I've got them. They're not in heavy rotation. Carry them around in the boat in case there's a situation where like somebody swears this is what they're on. The guy in the back of the boat's catching them on it, right? Like, I have a couple of the old Kelly J Lucky Craft. Forget
Never
what he
seen
called
that.
these. I don't know that it was that great of a prop bait, to be honest, but so I do throw prop baits a little bit. I mean, I do have a couple. The torpedoes.
Yeah, the only thing I hate about these, and what do you cut your hooks off and then redo it with split rings? Like the stock ones, I always cut these off. This is the one I just took out. It was same for the old spooks, the head and spooks. They had those like little bell things where the hooks, they did that so the hooks couldn't ride up too much or move.
Yeah.
But I cut them off and put split rings on.
It looks like this one I actually unscrewed and rethreaded it. Like I opened it up, must have slid in there because it's on the original ring. It doesn't get a lot of play, the 20, but I got them just in case.
Here was a super old one I used to throw when I was young. I think it used to have two things on it, and I was messing with it and ended up taking one off. I don't know if this is a Hedden or a Rebel or what even this
or
is.
Like a crazy shad or
yeah, I don't know. This thing was cool though. I never wanted to lose it, so I'd catch a fish and then retire it because I never wanted to lose it.
I don't have the popping. I know people like the popping and walking images. I don't necessarily have any of them.
How about these two?
Whatnot.
These two I didn't throw last year. Last year was my popper year, hands down the best lure. But these were two that I didn't throw, a little bit more expensive. What are your thoughts on the Megabass or the 6 cents ones?
I have not tried the 6 cents. I think the Megabass Pop Max is overrated. But that's just me.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't even throw them. I had them and forgot I had them and didn't even throw them. So here was
a Hellraiser. I've made a few casts with it. I haven't really given enough time. I know Gramps says it's good.
Remember that? The old Bill Lewis with the little lip on it. It's like a popper, but it's got an over-exaggerated top to it. Oh, here's the one I was talking about.
One token Devil's Horse in the box.
Here's the one right here. That was my first, and I had two solo doubles that day on that one. Orange with like chrome. Spotted bass.
That's not a stock EWG hook on that.
No, it's not. I think that was all I had. I think that was a 4 I threw on.
So my actually prop bait of choice, I have one of these Brian B's.
Here's an old one.
Topwaters.
Ooh, that's
a hand carved balsa.
That's sweet.
And this comes out every year around the bluegill spawn. Makes an appearance. Usually has a couple good days before the season passes. But
old Hedden.
Yeah, that's the spitting image.
Poppin' image. That's the poppin' image.
Or pop it. Yeah.
Pappin'. How about the somebody said these too, and I've got a few of these, and I had one good day, and I don't know if I just fish them too fast, but the Storm Arashi cover pops.
There's definitely some people that like those. Discontinued now.
Yeah. I know a lot of people swear by it, and I don't know. I guess I just haven't tried them enough.
Some people like the big. People are still looking for the big walking bait too, the Arashi Walker.
I don't think I have any of those. Got 3 or 4 of the cover pops. This is a little popper I had a good day on, one that I painted early on.
I don't even know what the chop cut is, Darius. Is that your paint job or somebody else's?
Yeah, mine. Yeah, one I painted early on. Turned out pretty neat.
I feel like that's the you know, if you're going to custom paint topwaters, all you really need to do is just mix up some bone and let it fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the best topwater for stomping on pike? I think it's hard to beat a walking bait for pike. Or a plopper. A whopper, a plopper, and a walking bait. Both attract pike. The good old-fashioned Zara Spook is hard to beat for northern pike.
That's true. Yeah, I remember the day we were crushing them on a plopper, Whopper Plopper 110. It was the white one with like the blue and a little bit of chartreuse, me and Dizzle. And caught, I don't know how many. And finally we got the last one in, and it was jumping on the dock, and it ended up breaking it. And I was like, no, I went to grab it, and off it swam with my lucky 110. And it's
got this thing is floating around in my topwater box. I don't know that I've ever thrown it.
Yeah, I'm not a rat wake. I need to try them more, but
I feel like it would be a super fun bite. I just never really given it much opportunity.
I did, Dustin. I cleaned and reorganized. Whole new basement.
Yeah, got some old Sammys floating around in here. I feel like I've got a few random baits, but then it's a lot of like duplicates of what I have confidence in.
Yeah, nothing worse than losing a lure that you're just crushing them on, then you look in your box and like, that was the only one I had. No. I won't be able to catch fish the rest of the day. That was the only lure they would eat.
The only thing they're eating. Should put this custom colored Chapo in my Chapo box. Sammy 105 is a sleeper.
Yeah, creative. The rat at night during the full moon. That'd be fun. I've always wanted to go out and do like rat fishing at night. Seems like that'd be cool.
In a kayak with alligators and snakes.
Snakes don't scare me. Alligators would, but so far the alligator sightings have been pretty slow in Iowa.
I don't like have like, I wouldn't say I love snakes, but like if I see a water snake as I'm fishing, it doesn't I'm aware of it, but like I'm not like freaking out. But I have people fishing me like put the trolling motor on high, let's get out of here, right, like.
See, I'm the type that
Like
tries to catch it. Can we get close enough
I
and
had
catch it?
one actually climbing the splash wall of the boat, and the guy that was like fishing with me was like up on the front deck, like, you got to get that out of the like just like freaking out. But I will say, Brent Anderson lives on Kentucky Lake. He's been posting videos on like I've seen him mostly on TikTok, but I assume he's posting these like on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But like he had a video where he had 5 timber rattlesnakes or rattlesnake timber.
I saw that.
And I
Yeah,
was like in his Phoenix, and I was like, okay. I mean,
was
I know
that
have like
real?
I was like, that's real. He like
Holy
picked
crap.
them up and was like checking them out, and then he put them back. But I'm like, I'm not afraid of snakes, but I ain't searching out rattlesnakes to handle and like put in my boat.
Yeah, timber rattlers. I'm gently pushing them on their way with the rod. I'm not picking them up.
Yeah,
And I like
we don't
snakes.
really have that problem up here where I live, but
I think we have. I don't think we have. Maybe we have timber rattlers. I think the prairie rattlesnake, the little one, is more prevalent by us out here. I don't know if we have timber rattlers down south. I have to look. I don't
this
think
lake
so.
is only 20 minutes from my house. Maybe I need to get my rats out.
Yeah, that sounds like that'd always be fun.
I don't fish a lot at night, to be honest, but
yeah. Speaking of that pompadour, actually, I have a buddy that does, and that's what he caught, like a 7-pound something Iowa bass on that pompadour that night.
What do we say? We take a 1-minute break, and we'll see what tackle I got unopened here, and then we'll answer any other topwater questions people have that we didn't touch on.
Do it.
Are you ready to reel in your next home purchase or refinance? Supreme Lending's Dream Team can help guide you through the entire mortgage process, from pre-qualification to closing. We have a wide variety of home loan programs in our tackle box, including down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer options. You can ask HellaBass. He trusted us to help finance his home. Contact the Dream Team today by searching Supreme Lending Dream Team, or click the link below in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen.
Shout out Dream Team. Appreciate it. Keep that on hand for when you get your gold play button, Debo, and you get your Texas home for down south in the winter. That you'll need Aaron to help you with that.
Yeah, I don't think with housing I'll be moving anytime soon.
I say when you have your gold play button, your million subscriber, and then you can use that. For your
I'm
Texas
so close
house.
to that. Should be in the next year and a half. I'll be there.
You're like one good video from that happening.
I never even got the other one. I didn't care about the play button thing.
So simple, Debo. Just you and all your rods and your tackle and your kayak.
Me in my basement. Hey, listen. When I'm having you on my live, whenever we can get that to work, we're talking advanced drop shotting from kayak. So you better get a kayak and practice up on it.
I wouldn't mind having a kayak. I definitely drive by places where I'd like to take a kayak out there.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've got a pretty nice boat. And then I've got a fair amount invested time, money, resources into that. And it's like, how often would I have the right amount of time where I only want to go this far and I would put a kayak out, versus if I have just a little more time, I want to probably take the big tow. I don't know. So I don't know, maybe in a couple of years, my girls will be seniors and sophomore this year. So potentially my time commitment outside goes down a little bit when they go off to college. So maybe then I have time to play with a kayak and a bass boat.
If I had the room, I would still have just a 10 boat would be my all around favorite. But yeah, with neighbors and room and storage and
So Chris is he's in Waukegan at a soccer tournament where my daughter and my wife were at, and he's sad that I'm not there to beat him in cribbage. So he's chiming in. So
dang.
And he's on lockdown. I've heard that the hotel they have has a threat, and they're in lockdown on the hotel. This is what I've heard.
Oh my God.
It sounds like there
Hopefully
was some
everybody's
weird
all right.
threat called in on the hotels, but they think it was like one of those threats. I think they call it swatting, where they call threats in over here to get the police distracted so they can. They're like, look over here, and then they're doing something mischievous somewhere else. I don't know.
If people would put
Like
all
it
that
sounds
work
like
into
they're in
doing
like
something good,
a nice suburb of like Chicago, Wisconsin border, and I don't know. Yeah. Understand, Chris. Wish I was there. Got dirt. These bass are not going to catch themselves this weekend. And if I was there, I wouldn't be catching them. So, I haven't been on, I don't think I've been on your stream. And you haven't been on my stream since you have become a kayak angler.
full convert. I just won't measure fish. I'm not that big of a kayak guy. Fish are meant to be
You're not going to
weighed,
get
not
into a
measured.
virtual tournament. You just won't do that. That's where you draw the line.
Yeah. Fish aren't measured unless they're panfish. Panfish are meant to be measured. Bass are meant to be weighed. So that's where I draw.
I do have a catch board in my bass boat, and I will dabble with the online tournaments from my bass boat.
I tried them a couple times, and where I was at, it was so frustrating trying to get stuff to upload and stuff. It was just such a waste, and it wasn't fun to me. Tournaments just aren't. I don't know. It takes the fun out of it for me.
Sure.
Too serious.
I just do it as I don't let it drive me, but I just record what I like to get in the low ones, like where it's like $20 or whatever for a month or 3 months. And if you win 100 for $200 or whatever, if you do well. But then there's also like random prize drawings, right? And then like you might just put in 3 fish for like whatever 35 inches or whatever, and like, oh, you won the drawing for this reel or this frog pack or whatever, right? I don't know.
MJ, yeah, I agree. That is one thing I really like about the kayak tournaments. He just said I fish out of a boat, but honestly wouldn't mind tournaments going measure and release. Yeah, that's one awesome thing about the kayak stuff is you just measure it, throw it back in. You're not carting it around. That's one thing I hate about tournament stuff.
So the main tournament thing that I'm fishing this year is called the Classic Bass Champions Tour, and they do live weigh release like MLF does. So we have high school marshals in our boat.
That's what I wondered.
Certified scales. We all have the same scales. Next year, that video will launch Monday for my recent one. Check this out. We had a tournament up on Vermilion. 8-hour tournament, 67 boats. I weighed 73 bass in 8 hours for 161 pounds, and I got the second to the last check.
So was it big 5 or is it your total fish like MLF?
Total fish. So I weighed 73 fish in 8 hours for 161 pounds, and I got 16th place out of 70 or 67.
Holy crap.
The winner had 260.
What were you throwing? Or like what were you mostly catching them on? Like type, you don't have to say like specifics, but just like
no, I was throwing a stupid tube and
I saw that post. Yeah, I saw that post.
Yeah. Yes. Are you coming up to Minnesota in July?
I am. Yep. You gonna be out there?
You gonna drive by and then text me on the way home, or
no? I've given up on that. I'm waiting for you to say if you want to meet. So yeah, I'm not.
I thought you'd wait till you were like 30 seconds from my house and be like, oh, I'm right here. Oh, no, it's too late. I'm gone already.
I know. After I made the comments when you were down here, I felt like a prick. So
that's all right.
Yeah, I'll be up there. I'm not fishing the tournament though. I'm going up just to meet people in the tournament and fish that area. I think not Dustin. Oh my gosh. Why am I Rob? I think Rob is going to be out there. I think we're going to get a Airbnb and see if I can get some other people because I think Rob's not fishing the tournament. So if there's other guys that want to just hang out.
The date of that?
I'll be up there that Friday. I think that's the 11th. Is that the 11th and 12th? So I'll be up there Friday, Saturday.
I sign up for a tournament by my house on the 12th.
Yeah, 11th, 12th, 13th. I'll be there. Come home the 13th. So fish that morning if it's hot. But yeah, I don't know really what's
13th is a Sunday or Monday?
Sunday.
Okay. There's a chance I could. It's not that far. I could even bust up there for the day. St. Cloud is like 2.5 hours for me.
Yeah, it'll be
I've thought
interesting.
about it.
Should be fun.
Just to, like, there's going to be a lot of people up there because I think there's a lot of people like in our circles, right, that are going up there. I think.
I think so. Yeah, I haven't put like a full feelers out to see like who's going and like plans or anything. I just know like Gramps was going. Hopefully he's still going so I could meet him. You know, a lot of the kayak professionals and stuff. I don't know any of them, so I'm not. It was really just to meet a couple YouTube people.
Yeah, Drew Gregory, right? He's the one that's.
Yeah, I don't know him at all. Yeah, I think that's his.
I've had him on the
tournament
stream.
deal.
Seems like a super cool, passionate dude.
He seems nice. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. It's just I don't know any of them enough to like, hey, you want to meet? So yeah, a couple people. Really, if it'd be really cool if I could get, 2 or 3 subscribers and we just fish. I think that'd be really neat. So
you're bringing the yak?
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm bringing the yak. Oh yeah.
But you're not fishing the waters they're fishing or the tournament.
I don't know where they're fishing. I think they're fishing like the Mississippi, and initially that was going to be the plan, but then the people I think that I was going to fish with, they had other plans and they're going to be running with motors. I'm like, that doesn't really sound fun. So, because I don't know anything about up there. So I'll probably find some lakes.
I think would be a lot of fun because like back to, it should be full on like put on a popper, put on a little plopper bait, cover water, and probably get your arms broke by smallmouth all day.
That would be awesome. That's kind of what I want to do is try to find some smallmouth, but I hate fishing where it's super crowded. So like if there's going to be a ton of tourney guys out there, there's no sense in me being out there in their way and stuff. So I don't know.
Look, there's another soccer dad. They must be bored to be tuning into a fishing stream for the first time in their entire lives. What's up, Joe? What's up, old Joe? Best bottle bass. I mean, a good Coors Light is hard to beat. A Goldie. Yeah, well, keep in touch. There is a chance. I mean, like, even if I don't go, if you tell me where your house is, I could probably like look around and see what jumps out at me and tell you what lakes I've been to or what, what's promising.
That'd be cool. Oh yeah, Trevor was another one I was excited to meet. Oh, and he's not going now. Well, piss. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I won't even go. I don't know. Nobody's gonna be going. Well, I don't know if Gramps is still going, but.
So how about this guy off Baxter on Whatnot? It's a little Lucky Strike RC Rick Clun.
Sick.
Fun. I don't know. That's just laying around. Then I have this. Actually, I don't even know what's in there. I think somebody on the social said that I needed to look at these baits they made. Gramps is going, according to Trevor. Yeah, we'll see. I might be able to bop up there. If not, with a little bit of planning, you're driving right by my house. So
I'll leave that up to you.
So, I mean, like, you get a windy day, you're coming home, we could hop in the Camus, goof around.
Not mad at that.
Somebody sent me some tubes. BB baits. It's like some hand poured tubes. Kind of a, was that black or is that smoke?
Smoky, is that purple in there? Is that a smoke purple?
I don't know if I see any purple. I think your eye just wants to see purple. I think that's just like smoke or black and salt and silver.
Must be the
flakes.
reflection. It looked almost like a bluey purple.
What's up, Frank? They kind of got a. Have you ever noticed that your eyes get better with time?
Oh yeah, that's why I wore glasses.
Looks like these are made in DeWitt, Michigan. This is, I don't know, this is almost like a baby bass or like an IU or like a green pumpkin back with like a pearl belly.
That's a pearl belly.
It's kind of like, it's kind of pearl. It's kind of.
Look chartreuse.
It's not like a bright almost. Pearl. It's like a muted, almost kind of chartreuse. It's like a yellowed pearl. Ooh, here we go. This one's like a margarita mutilator type looking.
Morning Dawnish.
This has purple for
sure.
Hey,
all right, pink and purple.
It's a guy named. It says DB Baits, made in DeWitt, Michigan. Dustin, if you, I probably have his contact info either on Instagram or Facebook or something. If you. That is kind of a saucy looking tube there.
That is nice. How big are those? Are those like a 4-inch, 3-inch?
3 3/4, I would say, 3.5. But wait, there's more.
Well, you could.
If you've got questions on Topwater, I feel like I talked about all my Topwaters.
Hey,
This is more like a.
I know
kind of a
guys that
ghost
are
jab.
throwing the tubes on the naked buzzbaits as their plastic.
Yeah. It's kind of like a clear pearl, translucent.
That's a
favorite
cool
length tube. I would say mostly I throw the 3.75 inch, like the X-Zone or the coffee tubes. But I will drop shot the heck out of the baby tubes in certain situations, which is definitely Debo's sweet stuff.
Sorry, I almost fell asleep talking about drop.
Yeah, if you come up, we could go drop shotting in the boat.
Dude, that sounds fun. Nah, I'm busy that day. Whatever day you're talking about, I'm busy.
Yeah, the Curly's lure tubes. I have some of his tubes. I just haven't tried them yet. Yeah, I love to use AJ's weedless tube heads for my stupid tubes.
Stupid tube is slept on.
Let's this is probably where we'll end on this box. 1.5 Debo fingers long, says Little Rich. Oh, I turned the chat off.
That'd be
the commercials. So
that'd be a 4.5-inch tube, Rich.
Our good friends at Omnia. Got a little restock here.
Omnia. I was just shopping on there. They had some good deals.
How fast does stuff from Omnia come to Cedar Rapids? I bet pretty quick.
Like 2 days, yeah. Like next day after next, it's here.
Speaking of it, I'll put the code for June. You have 10 days to use the June code if anybody needs anything.
Freaking
save 15% off. So this is kind of boring. It's actually a lot of like drop shot and Nico.
Yeah, because they have like 20% off or 25% off VMC.
Yeah, I actually ordered these right before the 20% off sale.
Seriously.
AJ, you're out of tube hooks? Why are you out of tube hooks, AJ? But there is one style, the Finesse Nico red line. It has like a little floral barb on it, and it's really good for threading baits on for drop shot. And it like holds it on there, which is really nice. I also really like this clip system where it's like a labeled safety pin for organization in your box. It's almost worth it it's like they're basically pre-labeled.
That is nice.
So yeah. So I got a bunch of hooks. I got some more Neko weights. Might be doing some Nekoing this weekend. This is actually kind of fun. So I got some of the Core Tackle Scamper rigs. So do you like a fluke at all, Debo?
I do love a fluke.
So this,
but I think I've seen these. I do not like an open hook fluke.
Okay, so obviously if you're fishing on grass, not the deal. But like I threw this up on Vermilion because it was all rocks, open water, and the smallies were definitely slashing at it. So I think if you're doing smallies or spotted bass or like herring lakes or like, fish that are feeding on bait fish, open water, I think this is very legit. If you're trying to throw this around pencil reeds and wood and curly leaf pondweed, this is not your friend. No. But it definitely, the flukes go on there. I bet you I caught 10, 15 fish on a single fluke on this before it ripped it up.
Wow.
And the action was really good. It casted well. So like, Little Rich agrees that Omnia is fast shipping.
I saw that.
So, yes, not for everything, but in certain situations, I think this is a really good fluke hook. It's like so Matt Becker won a tournament on Murray, which is a herring lake, where he had a straight shank flipping hook, and he was basically wrapping lead wire around the hook. That's basically this is a better version of that, I guess. And then I got a quick restock on the Green Pumpkin Money missile baits worms because I really like this for drop shots. Told you we would talk drop shots tonight, Debo. Your favorite.
I need to throw them more. I know.
I think you'll like the next box. This is from BattleBaits, a company in Missouri, made in the US of A.
Missouri.
He probably just had a drop 2 hours ago. He's been doing drops like at 7 o'clock or 7:30 on Friday. He did a podcast with Andrew Hayes, Tackle Talk, and got a little buzz there. And he's been trying to stay in stock on certain. Oh boy, he really taped up his box. We are mangling this. Ooh, he sent stickers. Put those on your kayak.
Not really a sticker guy, but I have started throwing extra stickers on the yak if I have them.
Is it like extra flotation if you put them on your?
I don't know.
Oh, we sent a keychain. Look at that.
Ooh, fancy.
He said thank you on his note. All right, so I ordered some of their elusive brigade blades. So it's a bladed jig. That's not a chatterbait. So it's got an awesome, and I think like this blade up here is kind of similar to the Debo or the and then it's got a trailing spinnerbait. So it's a spinner blade. So but it's all hand tied, got a keeper on it. That's his 3/8. So definitely, I would say when you're reeling it, it feels more like a Colorado spinnerbait than it does a chatterbait. So it's a vibrating bladed jig, but it's definitely not a chatterbait. But I ordered a couple of these in his light morning dawn color because pink is all the rage these days.
I've heard. Still not as good as purple.
I got some green pumpkin gold flash. Clay says he can't do Luke Duncan anymore. Clay loves front-facing sonar. Does that front blade just shudder? Yeah, it just kind of oscillates. So, but it definitely doesn't. It doesn't chatter like a chatter blade. It's like I said, it feels more like a big bladed Colorado when I reel it. Haven't thrown him a ton. We've got a couple other colors, but thought it was cool. Support a guy that like makes his baits in the USA, and it's something different. And there might be a time and a place for this. Crappy Talk Live. So yeah, that's the new tackle. You got any fun stuff lately, Debo, that's come in?
No, I've honestly pedaled back a lot on buying stuff. I've really just been trying to get out and fish more. I'm trying to think if I have anything new that reels. I did get the new 200 and 150 Tatulas. Excited to try those. I do love me some Daiwa.
I recently added another zillion to my collection.
I saw that on that Ecstasy.
Yeah, Sweet. And another Tatula MQ. And then another, and I think I ordered a Fuego for my other. Yeah.
Fuego.
Fuego's hard to beat for $100.
I'm thinking, I don't know that I really have anything. Somebody said the Jowler. I did get some of those. That's been a long time ago, and I was just looking at those thinking I need to try that. Going back to Topwater. That and the shower blows, those little shower blows I wanted to try. So
what's on the agenda for this weekend if you get out? What bite are you chasing if you go out?
The place I'm going to fish, probably a popper for sure. Clear lake, usually pretty grassy. Last year I had really good luck there with a popper or a walking bait early or late. That was the lake I did throw a drop shot on last year and had some good luck. Caught a couple 2.5. I think a 3.5 on it that day. So for me being a drop shot hater, I did have to give it a little love. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any setups or anything. I was gonna do that after this. I don't really know. What should I throw? Any ideas? Grassy, decently
I mean, I would
clear.
think that this time of year, a prop bait in a bluegill color, right? You probably got a bluegill spawn going on in places. The fish are probably done fry guarding or just about, and they're starting to really focus on. But you still got bluegill beds happening like every moon. So this time of year, it's like into like that weekend that you're coming up here. I've fished some tournaments around my house where there's like a sneaky good bluegill spawn bite, shallow, like, or shallow or mid depth that happens. That can be kind of a sneaky fun bite. And sometimes that can be a frog bite, that can be a prop bite, can be a Senko bite, but like little hard points and little flats, where those little weed, where those bluegills have kind of fanned out and those bigger largemouth will hang on those. That's a fun bite. I like to look for that.
That's kind of my popper deal. What kind of like prop bait would you throw?
I mean, I throw that Brian's Bees, but I would think a torpedo or one of those would be good too.
Maybe I'll have to mark it up. That was one I was thinking about throwing tomorrow. Okay. Fluke, probably I'll have tied on.
Sure.
I was thinking
are you throwing like a white fluke or more like a watermelon green pumpkin fluke?
Shiner colors around here for whatever reason. So either the Arkansas shiner, it's whichever one that's less green. There's Tennessee shiner and Arkansas shiner, and I forget which one it is in the zoom. One has like a greenish silver and it's the other. Here, I can look. But yeah, usually like a shiner color.
Travis says 200 or 150 size reels for topwaters. I would say probably 150 size reels mostly.
Yep, agree.
How much better is the 2 MQ over the Procyon? I really like the previous version Procyon. I don't know that I've thrown the new one, but I would say a Procyon for $109 is hard to beat. And I would guess, yeah. I'm a sucker for getting a deal on something. So I think that what the Procyon is like regular, like 169, 179. So if you're getting that for 109, that's probably better than paying, what is it, an MQ 229, something like that. I'd probably say I'd go with I'd rather have 2 Procyons than 1 Tatula MQ. How that?
Tennessee shad is the one that I like.
But yeah, Pangrak's not getting a lot of love tonight. I haven't listened to that recent show with the college kid. But I like Panger. It's a good dude. Oh, here we go. I didn't see this. Does the naked buzzbait kill the plopper? I don't think so. No. I feel like, to me, a buzzbait is still more of a light cover bait for me. Like, I'm fishing around reeds, pads, wood. My buzzbait is running into stuff a lot of times, especially where I live. And to me, the plopper bait is like an open water cover, expansive flats.
Points,
in my opinion. Yeah.
Flats, points. Yeah. What's your favorite? I'm gonna take us away from topwater. What's your favorite like couple drop shot baits?
I like the magic worm for largemouth, and I'll either sometimes rig it Texas rigged, like right, so it's weedless, or I'll actually wacky rig it with a little band, like the little Arsenal band in the middle.
So you can try that more, if not try a wacky drop shot.
It's like a full 6-inch wacky worm down there, and you get a lot, you move a lot of water, and when you lift it up, you're also feeling right. So that's one thing that I would say for somebody that doesn't have a lot of confidence in a drop shot. Another bait that you can throw on a drop shot that may help you feel more engaged and in tune is to put a little paddle tail on there. like a little K-Tech or some kind of swimmer. Because then when you pull it, you actually feel that. Right. So you're getting, it's not just that like I'm just pulling and I feel my weight and I don't feel anything. Right. Like, so, and it can be a good way to get bites too. Just put a little swim bait on there. A fluke is a little baby fluke.
Yeah, those Z2s
and you're
cool.
mostly talking for largemouth, right?
Yeah, mostly larges. Yeah.
I mean, a little 4-inch stickworm, wacky rigged, can also be really good. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I have a zillion drop shot baits. I don't drop shot a ton.
I like the KVD. Was it the Dream Shot? That was a really good one for a while. Gosh, I don't even remember. It's been so few that I've had really good days on a drop shot. I threw a big bite baits one. Smalley Smasher is what it was last year. That was a really good one. They tore up easy, but it got crushed. I went through the whole bag.
Can be a fun bait, right? The Elastic Z or like the nice thing about those. One thing I learned about those on front facing sonar is how like they really float up the hook. Like so one thing I noticed when I was like out in St. Clair and now I've noticed in other places, when you throw a Z2, you throw your drop shot and you'll see the return go down, right? You'll see your bait and your right like, and you let flat guiding go and that drop shot bait just sits there, whatever your leader length off, like it doesn't, like it just floats that hook. When you throw other baits, like you see it, like your weight hits and then your bait slowly disappears, right? And then you pick it up.
Got to focus on like
but like
line.
The Z2 actually like suspends off the bottom.
Wow,
which is interesting. Panorama. I've got a couple panoramas. I haven't played around with them. Small bellows gill. Ring fry. I need to rig up a ring fry for this weekend. Probably the full size one. Fish shallow, weightless.
Ring fry. Wow, so good. Again, another one that I haven't thrown in forever.
It still smashes. I just don't throw it enough. Like honestly, and this is a good time of year, right? Like that same place that you're throwing those flukes, throwing a weightless ring fry or a super light Texas rig, like just floating it around. Yeah, I like the fly. For whatever reason, I don't have as much confidence in max scent for largemouth as I do for smallmouth, but I know it works. I tried Neko rigging the hit worm, and man, I was going through worms left and right. Like it did. Surprised how quickly that was just falling off. But do it. ES finesse crawler works good as well. Is that one you pour yourself or buy?
Yeah, I don't think I have that mold though. Yeah, it's a mold.
You still pouring stuff and making baits?
Oh, I am. Yep, when I have time. Yep.
Yeah, the Max in general is a really good bait. I kind of save those for tournaments.
Make them look durable though. Yeah, they rip super easy.
Creative says drop shot your ring fry. I forgot to ask you before. Do you like to nose hook it or wacky rig it?
The drop shot?
Yeah, the drop shot ring fry.
Oh,
that's what I was asking.
Are you asking me?
Asking our commenter to give you when you go out this week, when you're drop shotting all weekend long, as you will be likely to do.
I'll tie one up. How about that? One of my 6 will be a drop shot tomorrow. I accept that challenge because that's a lake that last year I caught him really good on that Smalley Smasher. So it's like if I'm going to find the outside of the weeds.
Ring fry. Well, AJ say 4.5 on the finesse crawler and a club derby in Iowa last year.
Damn.
The mayor is underrated.
Mayor is so good. Best paddle tail right now for me. I freaking love those.
See, I bet you honestly a little like that little 2 or 3 inch Mayor on a drop shot would probably smash.
I did just get some of the small. Actually, that is one that I wanted to try. I don't know if I have them back here or not. Oh yeah. I got these to throw in a little like an underspin, but yeah, the little Mayors, they've been out for some time, but
yeah, like when I'm drop shotting, I probably would go with more like a green watermelon bluegill looking thing, but that might just be in my head, you know, like what I think, you know, but I've not thrown a lizard lately. I like to throw baby brush hogs quite a bit. I don't own any of the man bear pigs.
How about these? I got some of these. Talk about kind of a throwback to something pretty cool.
Flirtworm?
The scope shad things. Have you seen these? It's like a fluke, but it's got little fins
Who makes
on
that
it.
one?
Reaction Innovations.
Is that a new bait?
No, they used to make these. I had some old ones, but they come out with new sizes. So I want to say the old ones I had were like 4-inch. These are 4.25, and then they came out with some.
And it's actually called a scope.
3-inch. I think they have different names for the size. This is the scope shot. Let me look here real quick.
Yeah, it used to be called the shiver shot.
Shiver shad is what it used to be called, I think. Shiver shad? Maybe it was shiver shot. Yeah, now they've got different sizes, and I think they call them different things. Reaction Innovation. Shiver Glide. That's what they used to be, I think. Shiver Glide? That's the 5-inch. I don't know. I've got some old packs somewhere. Yeah, Shiver Shot. And the Pano Shot? 4.25-inch Pano Shot. Their names.
I didn't know that they were coming out with new baits. That's crazy.
They have, yeah, they really haven't. But these, I think it was just some newer sizes I happened to see. Maybe these have been out for a while. New to me, I should say. Sorry. I don't know if they're necessarily new, but yeah, Shiver Shot.
You probably had molds just laying around there, like with all this minnow stuff, we should just put these out.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try one of these. I rigged up one. I was gonna do
the Shiver Glide and the Shiver Shot.
Yeah, maybe I'll rig this up as a drop shot and report back, see how it does. Yeah, it's disappointing. I used to talk to somebody over at Reaction Innovations because they're like one of my favorite like secret kind of underground baits that I like people never talk about. And yeah, just nothing ever came out of it. They just stopped talking to me and ignored me on everything.
I think they've changed because I know like Josh Heron used to be, and I don't think he is anymore.
Yeah, love me some Reaction stuff though. Skinny Dipper, that and the Mare for sure, or Little Dipper. Favorite paddle tails.
Yeah. It's a touchy subject, but something changed over there, so I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm not alone, I guess. I haven't sponsored or anything. I used to talk to a person there.
Cool. Nice. Well, cool. Well, hour and 45 minutes. Appreciate it, Debo.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe we'll
Thank you for having me
see
on.
you in a month, 3 weeks, maybe. Figure out if we can connect in real IRL, as the kids say. Kind of fun.
LMK IRL.
Anything coming on the channel that people can't miss on the Debo's fishing?
No, I've been slow getting videos
all
out.
Completely missable. Do not watch.
It's all old, and I'm who knows? Maybe I'll keep it up for another 6 months and just hang it up. Who knows?
You're not feeling super passionate about the channel right now. You're not highly motivated.
I am. I just the time, like we were talking about earlier, we need about 15 more hours in a day to make it all work between stuff. So it gets tough.
Right on. Well, appreciate it. Take it easy, Debo.
All right, dude.
We'll shut this down. People can get their gear ready, and hopefully everybody goes out and fishes and doesn't get blown off the water this weekend.
Yes, be safe. Stay hydrated. See you, dude.
All right, later.